There is no way that Connor McDavid is human. Welcome to From Center Ice. My name is Courtney, and I am here to recap the night that was in Stanley Cup playoff hockey last night. In the previous videos, I've recorded my recap right after the last game ended, but last night, the game between the Edmonton Oilers and Calgary Flames started an hour later. It ended at 12:30 a.m. Central Time here in Illinois, so I figured that even if I did record it and edit it, by the time I got it out, everybody would be asleep. So I decided to get a little more sleep myself and record this today. Of course, there were two games on last night, so we will start with the first one. That was Game 2 between the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers. And once again, the Eastern game was a snooze fest. This is just the theme for the second round, apparently. The games between the Canes and the Rangers and the games between the Panthers and the Lightning are just bound to be boring, apparently. But let's start with the goals that were scored in this one, and trust me, it won't take very long. In the first period, neither team scored a goal. In the second period, 15 minutes and 54 seconds into the second period, so as time was winding down there in the middle frame, the Carolina Hurricanes were killing a 4-minute double minor for high sticking, which in and of itself was a pretty questionable call to begin with, but I digress. Carolina was putting in a very solid penalty kill, a very frustrating one for the Rangers, who were trying to set up something, get some sort of shot on goal or scoring chance, but Carolina was just absolutely shutting it down, clearing the puck away as soon as the Rangers would get in, if they could enter the zone. And then after a turnover, Sebastian Aho cut down the right wing into the offensive zone on a shorthanded rush. There were 3 Rangers back, but Brendan Smith of the Carolina Hurricanes was also cutting to the net. Aho passed the puck through the legs of defenseman Adam Fox and hit Brendan Smith's stick perfectly, and all he had to do was redirect that puck into the net past Igor Shesterkin. 1-0 Canes. Short-handed. And then right after that, the Rangers took a boarding penalty. And then they gave the Carolina Hurricanes 1 minute and 10 seconds of 5-on-3 time after Chris Kreider went to the box for slashing, which is kind of funny because he was also beat back into the zone by Brendan Smith for that goal. Fortunately for the Rangers, the Hurricanes looked the best while they were short-handed and not on the man advantage themselves, so no damage was done there. And no more goals were scored by either team until there were 2 seconds left on the clock, and instead of getting an assist, Sebastian Aho hit the empty net, and it was 2-0 Carolina, 2-0 in the series. And now it shifts back to New York, and the Rangers have to try to conjure up some good luck on home ice to get themselves back into this series. But with the way they are playing, I'm not quite sure that's possible. They spent more time last night passing the puck directly into the skates of Hurricane players rather than setting up plays to their own teammates. And it took until nearly the end of the second period for the Rangers to get any sort of sustained offensive zone time and actually get some scoring chances. Antti Raanta got a shutout in this one for the Hurricanes, and he only had to make 21 saves. And you could probably count on one hand the number of good chances the Rangers had. Now, credit to the Hurricanes, they were doing a really good job of shutting down the Rangers and really pressuring them along the walls, forcing them to turn the puck over, and then they would just go the other way with it. Or when the Rangers had the puck in their own end, Carolina was really strong on the forecheck, forcing turnovers in their offensive zone to get chances. Shesterkin was good. He only allowed 1 goal. If your goaltender comes into a game and only allows 1 goal, you will take that pretty much every day of the week. Unfortunately for him, the guy on the other end of the ice didn't allow a single one. But the guys in front of Shesterkin really didn't give him any help there and really didn't challenge Antti Raanta a whole lot. When this game started, it looked like maybe it would be less of a snooze fest than game 1 was. There were a few more chances back and forth both ways. There was a bit more pace to it. Both teams looked like maybe they were going to try to score score some more goals. But then as the game wore on and the Rangers weren't getting any chances and Carolina was just doing their best job to frustrate them into submission, that pace just kind of fell off. And this game kind of felt eternal. But if you're the Hurricanes, you'll take that because you won 2-0 and you have the 2-0 series lead. So we'll see if the Rangers can put anything together when they are back at Madison Square Garden. See if Gerard Gallant makes any lineup changes. He did move Lafreniere up the lineup a bit, try to shake things up a little, but they really just need to start getting everything to the net and then just have guys willing to crash the net to pick up any rebounds there might be. Sometimes that isn't the most advised way to play a game, because if you take an ill-advised shot and there's a turnover, goes the other way, the other team gets a scoring chance. But with the lack of chances the Rangers are getting, they just need to try everything at this point. Just get all of the pucks to the net. Don't worry about passing, setting up the nice pretty plays, just everything to the net. Maybe the rebounds will be there. Because so far, whatever they're trying to do isn't working at all. But that's all I have to say for that game. So let's move to the game that was on right after that, the Edmonton Oilers and the Calgary Flames, the Battle of Alberta. Once again, it did not disappoint. This time, it took 3 minutes and 2 seconds into the first period to get the first goal of the night. Michael Stone took a shot from the point in the Flames' offensive zone. Zach Hyman blocked it, but his stick shattered in the process, so he went off. The Flames were able to get the puck back. They cycled it back up to the point to Michael Stone. He took a second shot. That one was blocked, but that one came back to him. He took a third shot, and that one hit the net, and it hit the back of the net. 1-0 Flames. And then you start thinking, oh, it took a little bit longer to get the first goal this time, but is this one going to turn into a replica of game number 1, where the Flames just absolutely take over and dominate the Oilers until the Oilers storm back and tie up the game at 6, but then the Flames score 3 more. The game ends 9-6. It wasn't quite that crazy, but 6 minutes and 2 seconds into the first period, Trevor Lewis wins an offensive zone draw for the Flames, gets the puck back to Eric Goodbranson, who takes a shot. Mike Smith with the save, but Brett Ritchie is there, and for the second game in a row, Brett Ritchie gets on the board in the goal column. 2-0 Flames. And then it really seems like the Flames might just take this game over like they did in the first game. But 13 minutes and 38 seconds into the first period, Edmonton has an answer. Leon Draisaitl has the puck on the right wing boards. He cycles it back around the net to where Connor McDavid is waiting for it. And if you are the Flames, the last guy you want to have the puck is Connor McDavid, because he just does things. He's hanging onto the puck, surveying his options, trying to decide what to do. Meanwhile, Rasmus Andersson is basically draped on him. Although it did kind of look like McDavid closed his arm a bit and held on to Andersson's stick. But while Connor McDavid was starting to come out in front of the net on Markstrom's stick side, he found Duncan Keith cutting down closer to the net, found him in the left face-off circle, got the pass to Duncan Keith, who just skated into the puck and shot it past Markstrom. 2-1 Flames. That play went from something that looked like maybe nothing was going to happen there to all of a sudden developing very quickly, and the puck was in the back of the net. I didn't even know how it happened at first. All of a sudden, the Oilers were just celebrating. The puck was in the net. It took watching the replay like 2 or 3 times for me to see McDavid getting that pass out to Duncan Keith and him just getting that shot off super quick as he skates into it. And the series is starting to seem like maybe it's not the Edmonton Oilers versus the Calgary Flames. More so, it's how many goals does Mike Smith allow versus how many goals can Connor McDavid just will to happen for the Edmonton Oilers. Because I swear, every time McDavid touched the puck last night, I was like, that one's going in the back of the net. It's like the seas just part for him when he has the puck, which obviously isn't the case because a lot of times he does have defensemen draped over him. He's just so fast and so good at maneuvering around players that he is able to avoid them and get free and find the open ice and then just get to the net because the defenders aren't quick enough to keep up with him. I don't know how somebody can be that good at hockey. The things that he does just don't make sense. He is just too good. And near the end of the first period, Edmonton thinks they have this game tied up. It started off of a rush from Zach Hyman breaking into the zone down the wing. It got to the net and Markstrom was just kind of swimming awkwardly all over the place, but also making stops. And at one point it got behind him, so he flipped around to cover it up and the official lost sight of the puck, but the puck did go in and the whistle blew immediately after that. But this is where one of my least favorite rules in the game of hockey comes into play, and that is intent to blow the whistle. The referee ruled that the play was dead because he lost sight of the puck. He just was not able to blow the whistle at the exact time that he ruled the play dead, which they could really just make this a black and white thing. If the whistle goes, that is when play ends. Then you could watch the replay, you could see if the puck crosses the line, and if it does cross the line, when does the whistle blow? Is it after the puck crosses the line or before the puck crosses the line? If it is before, no goal. If it is after, good goal. But instead, this is the NHL and we have to rely on the referee's intent. Drives me bonkers, but I can't change it. They weren't the only ones who had a goal called back because of that though, because a little over halfway into the third period, Calgary thinks that they have a goal. The puck was loose next to Mike Smith's right pad, but the official lost sight of the puck, ruled that the play was dead even though the puck was very clearly free. So that goal, which would also have been a tying goal for the Flames, was waved off. But the score is 2-1, and that is how they go into the first intermission. So on to the second period. And Edmonton actually has some leftover power play time to start the second period, which does actually look effective for them, finally. The power play hasn't looked very good for Edmonton so far in this series, which has only been one game and one period at that point. But to start the second period, they are finishing up their power play, and unfortunately, right after that, they take a too many men penalty, so then Calgary is on the power play. And fortunately for Calgary, on that power play, Darnell Nurse, defenseman for the Edmonton Oilers, cross-checks to Foley, which must have broken his stick because then he dropped it and was without a stick while trying to kill a penalty. And Darnell Nurse is one of, if not their best defenseman. So the Flames get the puck over to Johnny Gaudreau, who hangs out in the right face-off circle. He's quarterbacking the power play from there, looking for his options, and the right side defenseman is Darnell Nurse, who is defending once again without a stick. So Gaudreau is allowed to just skate around as much as he wants because Nurse cannot poke the puck away from him. Elias Lindholm gets himself open right in front of Mike Smith. Johnny Gaudreau passes the puck to him. He sends a neat little pass over to Tyler Toffoli, who was waiting far side, and Toffoli just bangs it into the net. 3-1 Calgary. And pretty much right after that one goes in, Leon Draisaitl hits Connor McDavid with a dish at the neutral zone. Connor McDavid breaks into the offensive zone right up the middle, and he makes the defenseman for Calgary look silly, just moving the puck in and out in between his stick and legs, gets around him, takes the puck to the net. Markstrom makes the save, but Draisaitl gets the rebound, throws it into the net. That would make it 3-2. Except in comes the Calgary challenge for goaltender interference. And as Connor McDavid was cutting to the net with the puck, he did hit Markstrom. He didn't hit him very hard. There wasn't a whole lot of contact, but he also wasn't pushed into him. The route that McDavid took him into the goaltender, and I think this is why they ruled it goaltender interference. It was a very iffy one. If I was an Edmonton fan, I would have been angry that they were even reviewing it. If I was a Calgary fan, I would be mad that it looked like a good goal because, you know, it hit my goaltender. But the officials ruled that it was goaltender interference, so the game stayed 3-1 in favor of Calgary. Until the very next shift, 3 minutes and 5 seconds into the second period. Leon Draisaitl has the puck on the left point. He sends it all the way across the ice. Connor McDavid picks it up. As he does so, Nikita Zadorov tries to hit Connor McDavid off the puck, but instead falls over himself. McDavid basically looked like an immovable object when it came to that hit because it didn't deter him at all. And then you have Zadorov just on the ice. It was pretty funny to watch. But since there was nobody in McDavid's way, he sends the puck to the point where Duncan Keith is trailing into the zone. That allows McDavid to get around other defenders and cut to the net where Duncan Keith hits him with a nice pass. And then Connor McDavid sends Jacob Markstrom's jock into the top of these stands by just completely deking him out of his net and putting the puck in. No goaltender interference on that one, and now the game was 3-2. They waved off the first one where McDavid would have gotten an assist on Draisaitl's goal. So they took the next face-off and McDavid said, "Oh yeah, really? Is that what we're going to do today?" And then scored an even more beautiful goal. Methinks Connor McDavid has a chip on his shoulder, but oh, is he fun to watch. And Leon Draisaitl, both of those two together, terrifying. So 15 minutes and 3 seconds into the second period, the Edmonton Oilers are on a 4-minute power play. The second unit comes on. Duncan Keith has the puck at the left point, sends it over to the right point to Evan Bouchard, who kind of walks up a bit into the zone and then just bombs the puck into the net, and the game is tied 3-3. That shot was insane. So I had to look it up, and he only had 12 goals during the regular season, which kind of blew my mind. But that second unit for Edmonton's power play just looked absolutely lethal. The first unit couldn't get a whole lot going. They did have a few chances, especially to start that second period when I said they looked the most effective. But that second unit, oh my god. Especially when you have the threat of Bouchard bombing the puck at you like he did on that one. I would advise the Calgary Flames to stay out of the box. So the game went into the second intermission, tied 3-3. And I guess it doesn't really matter if the Flames stay out of the box or not, because 10 minutes and 14 seconds into the third period, as Edmonton is killing a penalty, Zach Hyman forces a turnover, takes the puck down the right wing into the Edmonton Oilers offensive zone on a short-handed breakaway and just lifts the puck over Markstrom's glove. 4-3 Edmonton. And for the first time in these two games, the Oilers had a lead. On that same power play was when the Flames had the goal waved off because the ref lost sight of the puck. Absolutely brutal. The first one was bad when Edmonton had theirs waved off. This one was even worse. And then 12 minutes and 36 seconds into the third period, Leon Draisaitl on a breakaway versus Jacob Markstrom. Who do you think wins? Leon Draisaitl. 5-3 Edmonton. And that is how the game ended. So the series is tied 1-1. It now shifts over to Edmonton. It was a good bounce back game for the Oilers and for their goaltender in particular. He didn't get pulled within the first 10 minutes of the first period. On the other side, Jacob Markstrom now has to have himself a bounce back game because he really hasn't been great so far in these two games. In game 1, Calgary was able to outscore his problems, but in game 2, Connor McDavid willed the Edmonton Oilers to outscore Mike Smith's issues, and then that allowed Smith to just kind of settle down in the net and make the stops that he had to, and Edmonton won. The good news here is that we get at least 5 games of this series now guaranteed, and that's good for everybody. But the Flames are really going to have to battle back in game 3. They looked dominant mostly in game 1, and then all of the penalties called against them in game 2 really just took them out of their game. They didn't have a flow going. Tyler Toffoli did score that goal on the power play, but other than that, he's been fairly invisible. But the biggest key here was the Flames taking 6 penalties. And yeah, Edmonton took 5, and both teams only scored on one of their power play opportunities. But it seemed like Edmonton was really able to get the momentum from their power plays, whereas Calgary just couldn't. So once again, the Western Conference game is full of excitement and makes up for the game that came before it out east. There weren't as many goals in this one. There were only 8 total, and Calgary scored 9 themselves in game 1. But it was still intense, and there was a lot going on, and it was a fun one. Connor McDavid had a great game. Leon Draisaitl had a great game. Duncan Keith had a great game. Now it's Calgary's turn to respond. We shall see if they do tomorrow. There are 3 games on tomorrow. Florida is playing early in the afternoon instead of playing tonight before Colorado and St. Louis. So at least you get to drink some coffee with your Florida matchup. Hopefully that keeps you awake, because the games sure haven't so far. But that'll do it for me in this one. If you want to hear more from me or from Center Ice, you can head on over to FromCenterIce.com. There's links to all the places you can find us over there. If you want to follow along on social media, all of the links are down in the description for you. It is at VFCenterIcePod on Twitter and at FromCenterIcePod on Instagram. Also, subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that yet. Give this video a like, that would make me so happy. But all of that being said, thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you, and I will leave you on this note. Western Conference, Bestern Conference. Bye guys.